All right, I am the executive director for Musana International, and I have been there since the onset, so I'm one of the founders. So that we started in 2009, and for the first few years, there weren't really legitimate positions. Mm-hmm. We were just all doing it as like a side project. So it's just been the last few years that I've had a title.
Maybe you can explain to us what's the whole process of Musana then?
Sure. Yeah. So artisans are trained in making jewelry that's sold here in the U.S. The money goes back to support their income as well as our programs. So I spent the summer in Uganda with Help International and got to know the plight of women, which is not uncommon in the developing world, where women have the economic burden for the family, but there's no work for women. And so seeing that situation at that time, kind of all of us knew very little about business, but we saw the need, and so we thought it'd be simple to have them make handcraft that we could send to the U.S. and sell, and it would just be easy. And we didn't do a lot of like market research on what items are needed or what part of the market's flooded. So anyways, we've been learning a lot since then. So we've got some hard metrics like these many kids were not in school, now they are. A woman was not literate and now is able to read and write. So we supplement artisans' children's school fees. So we ensure that all children are in school, and most of them were not in school before their mothers came to Musana. So that's a part that's really exciting. We know that that's going to make a generational change.
What do you do to positively affect people?
So the core of Musana is providing stable income for women so that they can solve their own problems associated with poverty. And so that's really what we're getting at, is providing jobs and where they're properly paid. But in addition to that, we have different benefits that are part of working with Musana. So we do education classes for our artisans. So we have classes in literacy, business, and health. So like many of my answers in the beginning, we were just kind of off the cuff doing things. So we started with 7 women, and a few of them we knew personally. Like we were there with this team of Americans, and one of the women would come and wash our clothes, and another one was our cook. And so we knew that at the end of the summer they'd go back to daily pickup work, trying to find money for dinner that night for their family. And so and then we had a few referrals from this guy named Pastor Francis that's kind of been with us from the beginning. He kind of vetted a few women that were in extreme need. So from the beginning, it was based on need, not necessarily on skill or reliability. Seeing some of these things like confidence that changes. So in 2009, one of the women that she would wash our clothes, her name's Eve, and she was really shy, would hardly look you in the eye. She didn't speak any English. And so we didn't know her very well because we couldn't communicate, but she just like had this like shy smile and was just hard at work washing our mounds of clothing. So 2 years later when I returned, so she had been hired on with Musana. She is like the class clown of Musana. Yeah, like she speaks English great. Wow. She is like super sarcastic, which is not typical in Uganda. Like culturally, sarcasm is not super common of a thing, particularly in lower socioeconomic groups. And she is funny, and she's always making fun of people, and she's like the one during group meetings where like, Eve, calm down. Wow. Like save the clown for later.
You probably would have never thought that at the beginning.
Never. Like I remember emailing people home, like here, that had been with us in 2009, and I was like, you guys, you wouldn't believe it. Eve is like this really funny, and her nickname is the Mulalu one, which means the crazy one.
Really?
Yeah, Mulalu. And she like thinks that's so funny, and she's like when anybody walks into the workshop, like when visitors come, she's like the first one to jump on her feet, and she's like, "We are happy to receive you, welcome." And she's just like, so that's been really cool to see. Confidence and like self-efficacy to be able to, like, she was in a hard way, you know, when she started, like life was burdening her, and now, you know, she's providing for her family and she's got future plans, and so that's been really fun to see that.
What would you like people to understand most about what you do?
So kind of our underlying philosophy is that one of the most effective things that we can do for people that are in poverty is providing jobs and like meaningful work. And I guess I just want to extend this to like across the board, that if every company was thinking about where their products came from, thinking about their supply chain and doing it ethically, then we could solve poverty very quickly. I mean, how many things are coming from people that are working in sweatshops and in, you know, less than ideal situations and not getting paid appropriately? If everybody was like paid properly for their work, then we'd be fine. But we are the end users and we want low costs. So anyways, that's like that's we're doing that little piece in this one place in Uganda. But I think that's something that anybody could apply in whatever field they're in.
Why do you care, Melissa?
Yeah, so something that has been a blessing and a burden is that I personally know our artisans very well. So I was there in 2009 and knew a few of them. And then 2012 went and stayed almost the whole year there. And for a lot of that, I was the only like Westerner in our town. And so my friends were our artisans. And there's been many times as we've gone on that like our model just hasn't been working. We haven't been making enough money to send over to Uganda and to pay our artisans, and or we'd have no money to do our marketing here that we need to do. And so times when I'm just like, what are we doing? We've you know come to the end of the road and like have, you know, it feels like we don't have options. And but knowing them personally, I can't like give it up easily. And so some people have been like, oh, people that have like more intimately known our challenges, people see us now and they're like, oh, it's so pretty what you're doing and all these cool pictures and stuff. And we're at a point where we're stabilizing and we're still not there yet, but we're getting there. But those that know like the path that we've been on, they're like, you guys have just persevered, you know. And I'm like, is it perseverance or is it stupidity? I don't know, because most, you know, in a business that doesn't have a social cause, you know, long ago you'd have been like, this model's not working, so we're closing down. So yeah, that's been something that's kept me going. And like I said, it's been this burden where I'm like, we got to keep going, but I don't know how. But I'm glad at this point that we have, because now we've you know been able to get to a point where we're feeling good about the direction we're going. Word of advice for anybody that is wanting to start an organization. I've had students come to me and say, hey, we want to do something similar to what you're doing. What advice would you have given yourself? Or what would, if you could see now, like what this process was from the beginning, how would that have changed what you did? And in all honesty, I say, I wouldn't have done it.
Really?
Because if I knew how hard, and I say that a little bit tongue in cheek, but like, if I would have known how difficult and how consuming this would have been on my life, I would have been scared to death. So there's something about starting something naively, but like there are smarter ways to start something. And so doing a lot more on the front end and like seeing if to start you can like collaborate with something that already exists, that can help you get a start much faster. So there's social entrepreneurship, but you can also do intrapreneurship. And within an organization, how can you build something out? And so that's something to think about. And sometimes it is the right thing to start your own organization, but just like that's not the only path